This is the entrance to an abandoned theme park in Japan. Well, at least what's left of the abandoned theme park here. We've got, starting with this one building up here, and over here, there's a whole set of extra buildings. Now, this place seems to have been abandoned somewhere around 2014. And I have one concern today, which is this right here. See, we've got bear warnings in here, and there are plenty of bears in this part of Japan. Let's just poke and take a look inside. I don't actually want to go in because I don't entirely trust the structural integrity, but I'm assuming this would have been the main entrance lodge area. We have a billiard pool table over there. Some kind of dining space over here, and then what I'm guessing was probably the main ticket gate area right here. Now, I am carrying my bear spray with me just in case. Unfortunately, in terms of season, it's that season where mother bears will take their children out for walks. And even for black bears, that's when things can get a little more aggressive. So we will proceed with caution and care today as we go forward. Seems like these here may have been lodgings. And the amount of theme park left here seems somewhat limited. I want to start by taking a peek up here as we walk along the creek or the ravine. I always forget to, oh, there it is. I always forget to grab a stick to carry. I do have an umbrella we can use to clean out all of the spider webs. But I don't know how far up we're going to be able to get. A lot of this has actually been disassembled, which is kind of rare in Japan. They tend to just leave it all, and this gets us over to the side of the houses. But let's see. Ooh, spiderwebs in the face, how close we can get to these. Come down along this side. A lot of it is really overgrown, and information online says we should best avoid going into a lot of them because, well, you can kind of see from the bottom, but the structures just likely aren't going to hold up as well as they once did. And so we're going to take it nice and slow and cautiously. We have fallen trees here. The other thing we need to watch out for as I go through here is leeches, because last year as we were exploring an abandoned school, I stopped afterwards to go to a onsen and found a rather large leech attached to my leg. So we'll try to proceed with, there's a bit of a dam section here, which is actually just really beautiful. Just taking a second to appreciate that right there. And then turning around this way, at the top of the hill, we have this hut right here. I'm guessing these were kind of like residences for people to stay. This likely would have been the bath area here, with the main room being here. Now again, I don't want to actually step into it. I don't think my weight would make that much of a difference. But as Japan is an earthquake-prone country, all it takes is one shake while I'm standing in the wrong spot to end this adventure pretty quickly. Right now, we are on a week-long adventure through Japan. And look at this one here. All tatami floors, all windows and everything have been removed. And got another one here, which we should be able to get a peek at from the side. They're literally just built along the side of this mountain here. There we go. A few years back, I was making a video about an abandoned village, and I kind of did it in two pieces. Before, I'd gone out to make a bit of a joke video, and then while in the area, I found out that there was still one remaining resident in the village. And so I went back and I decided I was going to live in the village until I found him, and spent a few days living there, talking to locals, getting people to show us the homes that they used to live in, and eventually did meet him. But in the process of recording one of those videos, I had lots of huge spider web in the face there. I had come across a sound in a forest that originally I thought was just a monkey, and it kept getting closer and closer. I was like, it's a weird sounding monkey. It was a bit of a squeak, a cry, a ee. And it wasn't until about 2 years later that I learned that that was not a monkey, that was the cry of a baby bear asking for its mother's help. And luckily, during that time, I think I said in the video, like, I don't want this monkey to come and steal my camera gear, so I'm getting out of here. And I left. And turns out it's a really good thing that I did that, because that was a baby bear crying for its mother. And we did come across a bear on the main channel when we went to visit the hermit living in the abandoned village out in the mountains. And that was quite the experience. But coming through here, I also kind of worry about boar coming through here, so hopefully we're not going to run into any trouble today. But it's always best just to keep our ears out to a certain extent and stay cautious. Really got a duck coming through these here. And then this brings us into another set of buildings here. And taking a look here, we've got some fire extinguisher. I forgot to use the umbrella and got spider webs in the face. And this one here says it's got a tennis court for 1 hour, 2,000 yen, or a gate ball court. There are so many things in this world I don't know about. And we've got old mahjong tiles here. And just take 1 or 2 gentle steps into here, but we do have to be careful because there is a ton of broken glass on the ground. And this one is actually rather large and spacious inside of here. It's also much, much darker than you might think. But I'm incredibly grateful for the technology that we have access to nowadays, because typically I would have to carry around a big A7S III with me, which is my usual shooting camera, and am able to shoot this entire thing on an action camera, the Ace Pro 2 by Insta360. And it has just become my go-to camera for any time that I'm going to be inside these spaces or dealing with low light. I want to proceed very, very cautiously. This section here is all concrete, so it doesn't feel that bad. All over here seems to be tatami with spots of the floor just completely caved in. In fact, this looks like it's built fairly solidly and flat, so we might be able to come over here and, just in case, gather up all the spider webs and step out to this side here, where we do need to be careful because that right there, that's a cliff. And it's been a rainy day out here in the mountains of Japan. Also need to make sure we don't step on these. But the entire ceiling over there is collapsed in, and this is all tatami flooring, so I will not be stepping into that area there. It's kind of interesting because it was like an amusement park, if you will. But there were a lot of these built out, an old karaoke tape. So karaoke, or karaoke, being really popular in Japan. This right here is an old retro karaoke tape for old karaoke machines. Most of these places tend to have a lot of stuff left over in them, but this one has been comparatively surprisingly cleaned out. We've got a whole box of them here. Now, these places also aren't that difficult to find, but I've mentioned in other videos that I'm a little more cautious now about sharing the exact locations and names of them because of the number of times that I like to come back to these places and I find stuff spray painted, destroyed, stolen, etc. And there's always one or two people in the comments who are like, oh, we could find it if we want to. Yes, you can. You definitely could. Wouldn't take that much effort. Didn't take me that much effort. Congratulations, go for it. But it's the people who have quick and easy access, the people who don't put in the work, the people who are like, ooh, there's an abandoned space with some free stuff, that are likely to jump in and be like, oh, there's a place I can do some damage or steal some stuff. And looks like this place has already taken some damage. Let me get through here because windows are broken out, walls are spray painted, and we have another billiard in here. But I also prefer not to just send tons and tons of people and give easy access. Now, most people are really understanding about that and completely get it. And if you're one of those, I absolutely adore you. There's always a few people every single time who kind of take offense to the gatekeeping. And most of the things I do on these adventures, I genuinely want you to come out and find them and check them out and experience them. And there are many abandoned places that I've had people DM me and be like, hey, I actually went out to that abandoned village or that abandoned place and took a bunch of photos and left nothing but footprints. And it's really fantastic to get those. So if you come out to any of the locations that I share in these, please don't hesitate to share it with me. I always like to know that people have gotten some fun and some value out of what we've done. But at the same time, there are just as many people who come out with very different goals in mind. And there's another building up here that I want to check out and just clear out our spider webs. Now, I didn't know entirely what to expect from this one. There's not a ton of information about it online. There is a little bit, but not many photos, not much write-up, just a little bit. It was abandoned in 2014 and hasn't really been touched since. And wow, we got a whole extra building in here. And even just shoving my hand through there, so many spider webs. And as we come up this way, I wonder if there's anything up the hill. But what I was expecting originally, you think amusement park or theme park, you think rides, you think go-karts, you think roller coasters, that's the word I was looking for. But so far, all we've come across is mention of tennis courts, and gate ball courts. Does anybody play gate ball? Is that like, oh crap, guys. We are, oh boy. All right, something big moved over there. Ooh. Just in case, I am going to prepare the bear spray. We're gonna keep ourselves down on this side, because I don't know if you heard that, but whatever it was big and it was surprised by us, which is one of the reasons I tend to do these walks while talking instead of silent, but won't be going up there anymore. Bear spray is at the ready. Whew. That one genuinely made me jump. Whatever it was big. We're gonna take a quick peek into here. And then I'm just gonna keep my voice loud and known, but you can see just how much of the roof has collapsed in here and why I wouldn't want to go in there. They've also stacked and cleaned up the tatami in here. Got a ton of chairs over there as well. And oh, I'm just kind of, as I talk about this, I'm watching this area out here for any signs of movement. But just taking a brief second to take a breath after that one. And then it looks like this area here goes through to where we just were. But again, even being under here, I feel like there's a certain amount of risk. So I am going to continue on. We are not going that way. In fact, and this section of buildings there, that was one of the only things left in this area. And so there's that. And then there's this section of building here. So we are going to head back this way. But usually this is exactly where I would wrap up the video. But this time, just so that we can keep talking, keep our voice going, keep this in hand, we're gonna head back this way together. Just kind of clear the zone. Let him have his space. Whoever he was and whatever he was up to. And we'll make it back this way. Now, some people say you should have bear bells. And bear bells are actually a kind of questionable, semi-unsure thing. Some people say it creates more curiosity, especially in black bears, than it does kind of a warning. What you want to do is you want to avoid doing exactly what we just did there, which is spooking the animal, because a spooked animal is much more likely to react. And so you want to keep your voice going. You want to keep sound going. Oftentimes when I'm doing these podcasts, oftentimes when I'm doing these walks, I will actually listen to a podcast on speaker. I've got an old Coke machine here as well. I love the old classic buttons, and you can barely see them, but the old cans as well. And Cheerio bottle just jammed in the tree there. And then we'll come back this way because near the entrance there was actually kind of a fallen house. And so we'll go check that out so you guys can see what the walk in here looked like as well. But I often get the question, do you ever come across bears or animals on these trips? And bears, we've only come across them guaranteed once. Today might make number 2. And then the other animals, we come across tons. Like just driving out here today, actually driving out here last night, I came across a whole family of deer. It had to be 7 or 8 deer. And there's a beautiful road that leads up to the Mononoke no Mori. And almost every time that I've driven through that road there, we've come across deer, fox, rabbits, all kinds of animals. Most of them are not going to hurt you. The kamoshika is a very, very beautiful Japanese deer. I don't know the English name for it. If you do, please drop it below and let us know. The kamoshika is like a really beautiful, almost legendary looking type of deer that you would see in like Princess Mononoke. And I've come across those on the roads as well. But Japan also has boars, snakes, you name it. It exists here in Japan. I guess not have to worry about tigers. I have a really good friend who is from Nepal, and we always joke about how they're very afraid of bears while coming from a country where they genuinely had to grow up worrying about tigers. You don't have to worry about tigers in Japan. That also feels like a bit of a given. And then down here, as we get closer to the main road, which you can literally hear trucks and whatnot going by, we have this here kind of fallen hut, house, whatever it is. And it is really not in good condition. That has just straight up completely fallen down. What did you think? Did this video give you something interesting in your day? A bit of a jump scare? Would you come out to a place like this? Please let me know in the comments below, and we will see you again real soon.